jump right into it. We'll go through the results first of Division 3A. So this is of course week 2, or day 2 as it's saying in client. The first result there was my 1-0 win over the bye week team. I'm really disappointed in you. I think it was Monkey Chunks who rolled my stuff and managed to give me SPP on 3 different players that had 0 SPP before then. So that was awesome. Thank you. Uh, the next result is the Shadows 2 as opposed to a Shadows 1. We haven't missed anything there, have we?
No, they're just the Shadows too. Maybe they've been somewhere else.
Maybe.
No.
Okay, so the Shadows 2 beat the Teenage Mutant Ninja Goblins 1-0. SLP2 Scrub Harder went down 1-2 to the Rivendell Jets. Faces of 4chan and TBD took a 1-all draw. Safe Moves First went 1-0 over Gluten Free. Well, that's a bye week as well, isn't it? Because that's Nubs' former team, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing.
the Doomed Witches beat Celebrity Veg 3-1. So they're continuing their trend of scoring 3 touchdowns all the time. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, looking at the teams, I was picking. What team did I choose? Safe Moves First. Currently on 2-0, and they have played their week 3 game, which we won't spoil. But yeah, this team's had a really good start. As much as I dislike covering them due to the naming scheme, they definitely have been developing well and playing well. So I've decided I have to have a look at them. So basically, you got your pretty standard Orc team, 4 Black Orcs, 4 Blitzers, 4 linemen, and then you got what's pretty good for an early Orc team is he's got some block on the Black Orcs. Probably he'd like a bit more. They definitely are falling a bit behind the blitzes, which is noticeable. And usually, if your Blackhawks fall too far behind your blitzes start to bloat up with skills that aren't actually that useful on them, while your Blackhawks really need just that block guard at least to start really hitting the corner. But yeah, it's good that an AG4 blitz is pretty handy. He doesn't have a thrower, so that's probably going to be his carrier most of the time. But he's also got a good amount of development on the other blitzes. You got guard, tackle, you got a mighty blow, jump up. So eventually there'll be some piling on, I'm sure there, and a mighty blow guard. As I said, it's lacking a little flavour this team, I'd say. I mean, not to be too harsh on it, but it does have no troll and no thrower, so there's only 3 positionals here. So it'd be good to see him keep developing and make them a bit more interesting, because personally I like the troll. I think he's a good, cheap, big guy, but I can't really bag people who don't bring him because he's not a great player and he is a big guy, and you do have a lot of strength already on Orcs. Although the throw is a bit more interesting. I think the thrower means he might get troubled by the elves, which, as we've seen in this div, there are quite a decent amount of elves, and if they start getting strip ball, that might be scary for him because you don't really want to take sure hands on a blitzer. So yeah, I think that's about all I got to say on this team. How about you, Tommo?
I disagree a little bit. I think you do take sure hands on that blitzer, and I really like this setup. I think it's super TV efficient. Carrying with a blitzer has the advantage of moving the ball with a movement 6 piece instead of a movement 5 piece. But I just really like, you can protect all of your blitzers and all your Blackhawks on defense as well because you've got enough linemen to actually put on the line, which is another thing I really like. I mean, if you look at Orc linemen are ridiculous for 50k, like 5339. So that's all pretty standard, but 50k, that's cheap as hell for what you're getting. Like a piece that's reliably just going to be able to run into almost anything, keep getting knocked down, and keep getting back up. You know, it's so good. And if you put like Dirty Player on one of them, it's perfect. So if I was going to run an ARC team, this would be the setup I would do. And I think I really like all of the development there. The only thing that I was kind of thinking of was maybe I would have liked to see dodge on instead of that jump up. But if he's going to be using, piling on eventually with him, then fair play. Jump up's probably going to be better in that situation.
Hey guys.
Yeah, well, oh, is that Papa Nasty? Speaking of
Damn
piling on
straight.
a jump up,
I know, I mean, somebody mentions orcs, mentions, mighty blow, piling on, jump up, and magically I appear.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm liking the looks of this orc team. I mean, aside from the fact that every player is called No Potato, that's not a fan of the naming policy, but but the yeah, he's got he's gone and he's taken the jump up there. Like uh, for me, I believe it or not, I've actually changed my perspective on on when to take jump up now. I would have in that situation as he's in maybe have gone for the diving tackle instead. Just as I've found it to be just so amazing. But the jump up piling on mighty blow, you pretty much can't go wrong. Once he gets that extra 6 SPP, he's he's going to be a killer. um,
yeah,
mm,
they are looking pretty decent. You are right, Tomo. An AG4 blitzer, you could certainly get him sure hands. Usually, I'm not too much of a fan of sure hands on something with strength access, but you are exactly right in the fact that it is 1 MA quicker, 1 AV more, and it has plus AG now. So it definitely can work as a thrower. Um, it just makes me wonder, does he get more positionals or just stay with the amount he's got now? But
he-
yeah.
he'll he'll need to stay with what he's got. I'd say. I mean, like one of the things with orcs is that you have kind of like he's kind of got all the positionals that he wants already. I mean, like a throw is always a kind of a debatable piece on whether you get one or not. And a lot of orc coaches are strongly against throwers because he doesn't have one. I assume he's one of those coaches, and in particular, he's got Ag4 Blitzer now. He does the job nicely. I don't think he'd go for a troll or a goblin, but yeah, it's just whether he develops the Ag4 Blitzer as a designated ball carrier with things like sure hands, or if he just says, well, he's Ag4, that's enough for me. um, yeah.
Yeah, I think also startling if we look at his record, 6-1-0. So he knows what he's doing, Bush does. Um, so yeah, I think this team's a real good shot to go all the way in this div. Their main rival is going to be the Dark Elf team, Doomed Witches, who we talked about last week, currently averaging 3 TDs a game every game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they clash, which is on round. Just have a look for that. Is there anything really else you guys have to add on?
Not really. I think it's super solid, and I really like it. I can leave my comments there.
Yeah, they play round 6. So yeah,
Yeah.
already that stands out as what should be a good match in this division because those two teams had really strong starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this team has the makings of greatness, and but what they've really got to be wary of, and where I think they'll find their most difficult matches this season, is going to be against the agility teams. And there, from the looks, there's quite a few agility teams in their division. I mean, I can see Elven Union, Dark Elves, High Elves, um, Elven Union, Wood Elves, Dark Elves. That's one, two, three, four, five or six. Sort of agility teams that they've got to go up against, and like they've only gone for one tackle so far. And on their number 8 no potato blitzer, and likewise on number 7 no potato blitzer. But for both of those level ups there, okay, they've gone for mighty blow first, and then their second level up has not been tackle on either of those. And so they've only got the one tackle, and that tackle is guard tackle. I think that against the blodge teams, they may have a tough time because you really need a bit of mighty blow tackle to really sort of whittle those teams down to size. But I think, I mean, that's from my experience. I constantly have to play Morka and Sanjun every Bullen season, so I specifically gear my teams to against elves. He's got all the makings of a great team. If he can just deal to those agility teams.
Yeah, I just have one more question for you, Papa. What do you reckon on the jump up Mighty Blow player? Do you reckon tackle or piling on first for him? What are you thinking there?
He's because he's taken jump up, he really needs to take piling on next. Because otherwise the jump up's wasted. Like jump up is a great skill even without piling on, but it's not. You say like half of the effect is wasted if you don't actually. 90% of the effect is wasted if you don't actually end up on the ground. Why take it if you're not going to pile on, right? If it were me, I'll be piling on every turn. Make sure I get maximum effectiveness out of that jump up. I think he's got to go. Yeah, he's got to go for the piling on next on that guy. The guard one. I think the guard one, he'd want to go for tackle on that next, for sure though. Which that'll give him 2 tacklers, which is solid. But just based on the number of elves in this division, I think every player in this division will need to have at least 2 tacklers, and probably best to sort of aim for about 4 or more. Because otherwise those elf teams, Liam, you know what an elf team can do against no tackle.
Tommo would love you not to take any tackle, so
No,
I'm sure.
I don't have any dodge yet, I don't think.
Yeah, you've only got one dodge yet.
Just have a quick, browse. Yeah. But no, I think the amount of agility teams in this division is a little bit deceptive, because obviously gluten-free Nubs' team has dropped out, and oh no, that's just the one. Now the only team that so far that has a huge amount of blodge though is the Doomed Witches, who it's dead easy just for Dark Elves to just have massive amounts of dodge quickly. Like Blitzers level up quickly, you take dodge on them. Like there's blodge right there. Witch Elves start with it, so
yeah. I imagine it's not really more. It's agility heavy. It's more just there's only really 2 proper bash teams. 3. So there's Chaos Dwarves, Orc, and Nurgle, which is a bit different when you see Div 1's pretty even in terms of bashing. Div 2's certainly bashier, and then Div 3A's a bit more well-rounded. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Especially the Nurgle team is, at lower team values, Nurgle teams aren't really bashy. Like same with Chaos. They don't get bashy until they get up above about sort of 1500 team value, and so they're this to me is a very agility heavy division. You've got a couple of stunty teams as well, which makes tackle even more important because that's just free SPP really, isn't it? And you got sort of the Gobblers or whatever it is that come with the ogres, and you got the goblins and things that come with the with Underworld. That's just free SPP.
Only if you can power them.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I mean, if you're a halfling, you're going to just man up your dodge player against players that don't have tackle or block all day. It's not really that scary for you. So
Well, you're still
Yeah.
halfling. You're still going to die eventually, but
Yeah, eventually.
yeah,
You
yeah.
really don't care
Yeah,
if they die, do you?
exactly. The goblars, whatever they are, on ogres, and likewise halflings. They're yeah. What are they called there? Yeah, noblars,
Noblast.
whatever they are.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
blast.
noblars. Yeah, they're yeah, they're yeah, especially noblars. They can with dodge and sidestep, they can just go up and just stand on somebody, and if you don't have tackle, and particularly as well for a lot of the players in the lower team values, they don't have block either, and so those sort of little 20 team value you know, little pieces of ammunition are extremely frustrating. Hmm. Unless you got the tackle to kill them, and then they're just free SP.
Well,
Anyway,
moving on.
yeah,
Yeah.
is there any team that you want to talk about in this division, Papa? Anyone that jumps out?
Oh, I'd love to look at the ogres.
Okay.
Because I was just looking at the Noblars there anyway, and I'm not that familiar with these newer teams still, and I'm I'm looking at this team and just thinking, wow, ogres. 5 strength 5. They sorry, this is TBD from Private Griff, and yeah, I'm just looking at their team, and they've got initially got the one ogre there with block, another that's got that's mighty blow piling on, another stand firm guard, and then they got the break tackle piling on with niggle, I think. That's just I can just see that just being just a team that's just so long as they're not stupid, they're just gonna hurt you. Like, and they got the Noblars there to as ammunition to throw. And as we were saying just before, at this sort of team value, those Noblars are extremely frustrating for a lot of teams to deal with because they don't have tackle and a lot of their players don't have block either. Um, so even if they do get 3 dice against them.
Yeah, he's got a good amount of them as well. He's up to like 13 players. He is one ogre short of like the allowance that he's allowed. So if there was 6 ogres, that could be even more scary. Um, just I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people would have been tempted just to go like mass guard and make it hard for you to get like dice anywhere. But I think the fact that he's taking so much piling on and is he's gonna hurt people. But those are ogres that are gonna end up on the floor quite a lot. And I think it might. Well, I'm hoping since I'm in this division, that's gonna leave a lot of gaps for some of the quicker teams to run through.
One of the things that I think he's going to find difficult is the ogres don't they only have general access on doubles, and so with this with this division being so agility heavy, what do you do when you come up against a blotch team? Like when you've got I mean the Noblars, they can I think they've got agility access and no general. They could go through and take some diving tackle, but that's your only real defense against these agility teams is diving tackle. And I mean, if some of these teams, these agility teams, can sort of hit the sweet spot, so to speak, then once they hit the sweet spot and they've got a decent amount of blodge, the ogres here will really struggle with them. I think there'll just be sort of a team value range that where just when the elven teams hit it,
Yeah.
you're
I think
just gonna
he's
find
going
it
to
really
need to.
difficult.
I think he's going to need to rely on getting inducements, because that's the thing. A diving tackle Nobbler is actually double the cost of just a normal Nobbler, because one skill on a Nobbler, even a normal skill, doubles that cost, which is pretty insane when you think about it. So you don't really want them. While diving tackle's really cool, you don't want them bloating up when you could have chainsaws. I think he's going to have to rely on chainsaws and bombs more than anything to try and get some damage against them. And also, you should be able to make 3 dice blocks with all those ogres, because that's a lot of strength 5. But you are exactly right in that he's going to really struggle eventually with the agility of this division.
You guys put a lot of faith in Lodge. Like, you guys need to go back to playing elves. I'm sorry. It's just I can't help, just my game yesterday where, like that Nurgle team hit my bludger, turn one, Paladin, Kale out for the rest of the game, just like that. Like, I've got no faith in Blodge at the minute, so I think this team's gonna do fine. This is apparently Caleb's brother's team, and Caleb's saying he's not interested in winning, just about killing things. I sympathize with that feeling, Caleb. It's very familiar to me. That kind of feeling. So yeah, it looks like this team's just another one of these fun teams that wants to hurt people. So yeah.
I mean, Tommo, you say you can't trust dodge, and the blodge it can, sometimes your opponent will just go through and roll a power every single time, one die powers even, but it's one of those ones where there's so many games where before I got a lot of tackle on my orcs for example, or on my other teams that I played like Chaos and Dark Elves and things that I played as well, where you go through, you blitz the ball carrier, throw 2 dice at them, nah, didn't work, re-roll it, another 2 dice, nah, didn't work, next turn you get another 2 dice at them, re-roll it, nope, still didn't work. You just go through and you might throw 6, 8, 10, 12 dice at a ball carrier, and they just don't go down. Having tackle, or having wrestlers as well. Wrestle is in many ways kind of like think of it as a poor man's tackle, but it just gives you that ability to take down those ball carriers, because otherwise stuff gets thrown, it goes all around the room, clean it up after the game, and just that frustration.
Alright then, so
Yeah, well,
oh, go.
all right. Well, I think there's not any gutter runners. There's only one wood elf. They don't have much dodge, so it's not too horrible not having tackle, but it's certainly, I think it's more once you get dodge spam, like when there's more than like 6 dodge on a team, and especially there's going to be teams that have 8 dodge or more, and Amazons are around now. Just how do you beat them when they've got dodge on every second player at least? Like, it's just crazy. But you are right, Tom, in the fact that you can roll powers. Yeah, well.
Yeah, exactly. See, going from a wood elf coach, what is the most frustrating thing for an agility team? Dwarves or chaos dwarves?
So yeah.
Anyway, then moving on. I was going to talk about the ogre team, but it looks like I'm going to have to choose something else now. Trying to remember who we did last week, so I don't kind of cross over. Did we ever look at the Rivendell Jets last week?
I'm pretty sure we didn't. So.
Oh, let's bring these guys up now. This is a high elf team. 3 rolls, 1 apothecary, 3 fun factor. They've got 2 blitzers, all 4 catches, a thrower who's apparently their captain, and 4 linemen. The blitzers, both got 1 level, both got the sensible dodge, making them blodgers. One of them's only movement 6 though, so I don't know if you want to think about maybe firing him early. I don't like having movement 6 blitzers, to be honest with you. It's just way too slow for me. You're not an orc, you're an elf. You should be able to run faster. We have 4 catches.
6 is fast, man. 6 is fast.
6 is fast, is it? So people keep saying 6 is slow. The fact that like humans can run faster than dark elves still pisses me off to this day. But we have 4 catches. One of them has Nerves of Steel and Block. Nerves of Steel's an interesting pickup, I think. That's a double skill on high elf catches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could have been something like like Mighty Blow, or Guard, or something like that. So the fact he's got Nerves of Steel is quite interesting. signifying a lot of offensive intent. I guess his name is Touchdown, apparently, since they've all got nicknames on this team. So maybe that influenced the decision, just playing to the name. We have a bludge catcher, which again, bludge. We were just talking about how effective or not effective bludge is, and 2 catches after that. The interesting player on the team, though, is this thrower, who of course has passed safe throw, and he's rolled doubles for strong arm, which is a great pickup because once he gets to 16 SPP, he takes accurate and he can just throw long bombs for days. So, yeah, it's a super all-around high elf team that I think is showing a lot of offensive scoring intent in the skill choices. What do you guys think?
They're looking pretty alright for high elf team early on, I think.
you can tell he's a wood elf coach looking down his nose. They're looking pretty good for a high elf team.
Yeah, I really don't care for high elves at all. They're just like, I usually see them as just like more boring pro elves and worse wood elves, but no, they certainly can get much more interesting once you get more dodge and block, basically. And not even just block. I think sometimes I see too much block on elves. I'd love to see a bit more wrestle, because especially what I do like about this team, actually, is that they do have all 4 catches, which means, like, often I see high elf teams that don't have all 4 catches late in the game, which just makes me go, why? Like, you've literally got a rookie war dancer stat line. They're really, really good. Awesome to get doubles on, because you can get Mighty Blow, and you can even get Nerves of Steel if you do want to, like this guy has. So yeah, there's just so many good options. I'd love to see them get a couple more, like some Mighty Blow on them, and then they start to get more interesting. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just like, what else are better?
I mostly agree, except for the wood elves better part. I'm a big fan of high elves. Actually, most people only ever see me play orcs because that's what I play in ReBBL. But I actually in the past have actually played quite a lot of high elves and dark elves as well, and high elves. I really like high elves. I'm not a fan of Nerves of Steel on a catcher. They're already brilliant at catching the ball. They've got catch, they've got Agi 4. I just feel like they don't really need it. But the and dodge would have been or mighty blow or guard would have been a better choice. But I agree completely with Liam there that having those 4 catches early on is great. Like your catcher's going to die. Because everybody's going to target them because they're AV7 and they start off with no skills. But however, people can't at the lower team values. They're actually a lot more difficult to kill because your opponents don't have as much mighty blow and things. And so it gives them if you get them early, it gives them an opportunity to get those important skills that they need, like dodge and block and things, to make them less of a target. And then by the time that your opponents do get tackle and mighty blow, they're at least at least then they've got block and things. They're useful, and as well then if you lose one, it's not the end of the world because you've got another 3. And I mean I just see high elf catches are just so amazingly good. They're pretty much the gutter runners with strength 3. And okay, -1 movement, and they start off with catch instead of dodge. But all in all, they're they're just really solid. You like when I play with high elves, and I don't know if this is the regular way to play with them or not, but I actually use them in the same way as what I use a gutter runner. So they're my sackers, they're my everything, my go-to guys, and like that one that he's got there, the blodge one. I think he's got, like he's in a good position as a scorer. And then if he's got the other 2 that aren't developed yet, if they would take a bit of wrestle and blodge, and then maybe some tackle or something, that makes them really good sackers because so many people just underestimate the speed that you've got with with high elves with high elf catchers, and the speed and the agility just all combined into one. They're just like a complete package. yeah, I'm a big fan of them. And then yeah, add in that strong arm thrower, give him accurate on the next level, and he just sits down in the end zone and throws 2+s, throws 2+ passes. It's then you can have you can have 10 players fighting with the enemy and trying to get into position for that touchdown, and then you just waltz on up with the thrower and throw your 2+ or 3+ pass to your catcher. With auto re-rolls for the throw, safe throw for the to help mitigate any chances of interception, and then the catch to re-roll any potential fails on the catch. It's just really solid. I'm a big fan of High Elves, and yeah, the minus movement blitzer. I would probably keep him at the moment, mainly on the basis that he's already got a level up. 6 movement, that's still pretty quick. That's the fastest player on my team has got movement 6.
Probably once you get a bit more blodge other places, then you can just go, I'm gonna fire you and get a new blitzer and try and skill him up.
Yeah. Later on, when he's got when he's got sort of that luxury, he can go for that. Like maybe get him one more, see if he rolls doubles or a skill up, and then and then just recycle them, because it makes a huge difference on a high elf team if you can roll doubles on your blitzers in particular, because they're often the real sort of workhorses of your like your blitzers and your catchers are your real workhorses, and the blitzers in particular, because they start with block, they're sort of just out of the gate so much quicker in regards to being useful. So.
Well, moving on to the ladder, if we're going to have a look at that, Tommo.
Yep.
So we do have Bush is on, 3-0, but that's peeking into the next week a little. Basically, we can just see it's still all pretty close because we're only 2 weeks in. Things that jump out at me. There's not really much. I think it's pretty much very similar to what we had to look at last week.
Something that I would point out here, and just looking at the leaderboard, is that one thing that I often find is, and just for anyone that's watching, and when they're thinking about what team to pick for a new division or similar, like in an agility in an agility division, there's in this agility division you've got sort of like 2 teams that you could say sort of bash teams. Actually you've got dwarves. The dwarves are just a buy, but so you've got 2 sort of like bash teams there. You've got chaos dwarves and orcs. Where are they? Right at the top. Like being the odd one out in a division is often a huge advantage, because I mean, like for these for the orcs and for the chaos dwarves, when they take tackle, they use that almost every game. Whereas, it's kind of like less wasted skills. You can sort of optimize towards your opponents a lot better. Whereas the other teams, they're used to, trying to intercept the ball and things like that, which doesn't really help them when they play against dwarves or orcs, because there's not many passes going on and not many dodges happening for chaos dwarves or orcs. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the just something that I always sort of notice, and yeah, it's just sort of worthy to note for anyone who's for next season or something. If they hear there's going to be lots of a particular race, don't take that race. Take the take the complete opposite.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed
we'll
to
have
know
look out
like
for
what
the
division
trend.
you're going to be seated in, of course. But I think with all the legendary editions coming out, playing a bash team's probably fairly safe, considering all the new ones are either like stunty or agi teams generally. But yeah, okay. So that was the league table. We'll go on and we'll have a look at the Division 3 fixtures. The That's funny. It looks like the two buy teams are actually going to be going off against each other, so the admins won't have to do anything for that. TBD are playing against Celebrity Veg. The Rivendell Jets have the Doomed Witches. Teenage Mutant Ninja Goblins are playing Safe Moves First. The Arcana are playing Faces of 4chan. And the Shadows 2 are playing SLP2 Scrub Harder. So good luck to everyone there. Moving on to 3B now. Liam, do you want to take us through the results of Week 2?
So in Div 3B Week 2, we have, first up, there's the Underworldly Underworlders, which is coached by Julian. So he's coming back from last season. Got up over the Dirty Dinkers 1-0. The Rat Way to Go beat the Peacock Blockers 2-1. Then we have Remassive Div 1 got a big win, as you'd expect from Chorfs against Monty's Tosspots, which of course are the Halflings. Then we have the Camry got another win, 1-0. Then Crusader got a win in the bye week. Woohoo Crusader, go Crusader. And then we've got a higher scoring match in the Urkwood Innuendos, Dark Elf team getting up over Wood Elves in all just numbers. So we can jump straight into my team here, which is the Underworldly Underworlders. So I picked this team out this week because I like Underworld, first of all. Also because I know Julian's a very good coach, finished 3rd in the div last season. And like, he should have beaten me really, or tied with me rather. He lost on a dodge into the end zone. So 1 in 3 chance I won, and I just got lucky and won. And he also beat Atomic, so he actually, he should have probably beaten and tied the top 2. So he's a very good coach. And he's also not easy to get tilted, so he's pretty good. And I do think it's interesting. So we've got Claw on the Troll, which is an interesting first pick, but you really can't argue with it. Claw is a very good skill. Then you got some Mighty Blow tackles, Storm Vermin, a guard Storm Vermin. So I do like the balance. You can take Mighty Blow on both. Sometimes I like to do. Usually, I think that can be a bit greedy. Getting guard means you've got a more stable player to help you out. Then you got your 2 Skaven throwers. One's got block, the other hasn't got anything yet. The 2 linemen, the Skaven linemen, have actually got MVPs. You actually want these Skaven linemen taking MVPs with the Underworld team, so that's pretty good for him because he can hopefully skill them up soon. And then he's got his 7 goblins, and 1 has rolled doubles for wrestle first skill, and he's only a touchdown away from his skills. So that's pretty cool, really. I think he'd be pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that goblin could end up being so obnoxious. They get another level up, take 2 heads or something, and then you're just dancing into a cage on a 2+. Doesn't even matter about tackle zones, of course, because he's stunty. And then just hitting the ball carrier. It's going to be 2 dice uphill. But, once you've got wrestle, you're pretty much fine. You're going to be getting like a push at least. And if you get another level up after that and take strip ball, my word, is that going to get annoying? You could argue taking strip ball next anyway and just dancing into whatever cage on a 3+ and hitting it with what do you call it?
He would need double. He would need another set of doubles for that. For strip ball.
Yes, he would actually. That's a good point.
But wrestle's a good start. When you can get horns on normals, particularly, you can get one.
Oh yeah, horns on normals. Yeah, that goblin. Yeah, mutations on normals. Yeah, 2 heads, horns. Wow, that's doubles makes goblins pretty awesome on Underworld.
Yeah. Chat saying that they would have preferred guard on the troll considering the division. Is this division
See the
Got a
division.
lack of.
Actually, this is surprisingly not as agility heavy as the last division. I could see. See, usually I'd take tentacles. In the other division, I certainly would have been tentacles first. But I don't know, claw and guard, they're both used against the higher AV teams, so I don't think you can't argue with it too much. And claw is just very good, especially
Yeah,
if you want
Claw's
your guy to
Claw's
be
solid as
handy.
well for Claw's really solid too for just helping him to level up a bit faster. Because okay, although a lot of the teams here it'll be useless against them, but because they're AV7 anyway. But yeah, he's he'll go through and like say against Khemri, Chaos Dwarves, and then against some of the big guys, like if he goes up against a tree from the Wood Elves and things, or the Rat Ogre from the Skaven, he's going to be getting an advantage from that, and just going to be able to lay the smackdown on them. This one of the things about this, about the Underworld teams, I think, is that they, apart from that troll, they don't really have the bash sort of going for them quite so much. And yeah, so I mean, I think that'll be a big bonus for them. Um, actually, they've got Storm Vermin for bash as well, haven't they? But
Mm.
yeah, still the yeah, the claw will help them to level up faster, and I'd definitely be looking at tentacles probably next though. Tentacles, possibly guard, but um, yeah.
Yeah, it depends what he wants to do. If he wants the troll to be in tons of tackle zones at once, which usually I think the troll is probably best getting tied up a bit, but he could try and play it a bit different, make him a bit of an extra threat of blitzing other than your Skaven blitzers, because they can deal with the low armor ones currently before they get their claw and piling on. So yeah. Moving on to Papa's team. Have you chosen a team for this div, Papa?
I haven't. I was actually going to choose the Underworld team as I wanted to check them out. But let's take a look at the Wood Elves.
Is that the all just numbers? Or
Yeah, all just numbers.
yeah, it's the only Wood Elf team. Okay.
Yeah. So here we've got two dancers as you'd expect. One with strip ball. For a Wood Elf team, as soon as they get that first level up for strip ball, that's huge. I mean, if we were to go through most of the teams in this division, you'd probably find that at least half of them, maybe more, don't have sure hands, and that just makes strip ball just amazing against those teams that don't have sure hands. Like I said, he's got a blodge lineman already. Blodge lineman already is edgy five dodge lineman. That guy's got so much potential for. It's one of those ones where yeah, I don't know what are you going to end up doing with him though. You're going to fire your thrower and use the lineman instead, or use the
See, I
lineman as
think
a sacker. Give him wrestle next.
I'd be looking go wrestle, leap, strip ball. I think would be my next three with him. But the thing is, three's really far into the future. Like, really, you're gonna get max 2 this season, and that's even stretching it. You're probably not gonna get 50 SPP in a season. So this lineman has a lot of potential, but he's set back by the fact that lots of positionals just, if you start with no skills, they take forever to get anywhere. And this sets things like high off catches back. Main reason I like Wood Elves over high off is just because it sets you back not having dodge early. So I'd really like to see him get to a really good level, because it's really cool to see linemen running around and doing that. But whether or not he does it, he'll have to really focus on him.
There's no catches. There's no catches at all.
Correct.
I just realised that. There's because I mean I'd say that's why he's getting so much development on his lineman. Is that without the catches, he's scoring touchdowns on his lineman. Which it's like his edgy five lineman. He's at 22 SPP already. I would say that he's got a solid chance of of maybe even getting that 50 SPP in the season. I mean, when you've got an Agi 5, and give him maybe Rog, Agi 5 Rog, and he's got a thrower, you can just pass the ball to him, and he just walks to the touchdown. Walks through to score a touchdown because nobody's going to stop him when you got Agi 5. Tackle zones just take on a completely different meaning, lose their meaning rather. So he's got a tree there, nice and solid.
Yeah, I do like a tree in this division.
Wonder,
For sure.
13 unlucky for some. Wonder if that's going to be unlucky for the tree.
Just wait till his 13th game. What'll that be? Week 9. Whoever's playing in week 9. There you go. That's what to aim for. But
Yeah, well, they've been doing all right to start. Looking at their record, a little worse than I'd expect. They got a decent amount of dodge already, which is really cool on Woodell's. I just think they might be having a bit of trouble sacking the ball. Might be a bit of sure hands. I know we've seen definitely a little bit of sure hands in this div, so he'd be hoping that doesn't come up too much because that makes Woodell's just run riot.
yeah, I think regards to IG5 lineman, that once you get wrestle, he becomes someone that you're going to actively be looking to blitz with. And then even if he had catches at the time, because you've got a piece that, you want to be blitzing with in certain situations, I think the SPP just starts going up from there. He's not someone that you're just kind of like running around in to give like an assist to make a hit with someone else anymore. He's the guy that's actually doing something. And guys that actively do things, tend to get SPP a bit quicker.
Although, mind you, the one downside though is that anyone who sees this team, often those high stats players, that Agi 5, those Agi 5 Lodge linemen, sometimes they don't make it to halftime. They have a huge target painted on their back, much like war dancers. I mean, there's everybody will sort of say like, oh, I don't foul unless it's a war dancer. And a war dancer or an Agi 5 or something. I mean, even someone who wouldn't normally foul is probably going to stomp on them because they're just such an amazing player to have, that strip ball war dancer and the Agi 5 lineman, just huge targets painted on their backs, just keeping them out of harm's way will be one of the big challenges that I think for a Wood Elf team is to just preserve those key players and just stop them from getting removed from the field, because so long as they're on the field, you always have a chance at winning. Even if you're playing, sort of four against 5, or four players against 10 or something, as Morka was against me, he still managed to sack my ball carrier in the middle of his cage and then prevent me from scoring because he had the necessary tools remaining on the field, and that's what Wood Elves are all about. Is those star players are just so amazing.
Yeah, well, moving on to the next team, I'm guessing. Not much more to say about these guys.
Yep, we can do. I'm going to have a look at the curious case of the Peacock Blockers, coached by Synergy. And the reason that I'm calling it a curious case is because looking at this team, it looks amazing from the off. He's got 5 blodges, dodges all over the place. He's got a plus movement line woman, a mighty blow on his team. This team's pretty awesome. He's got 4 rerolls as well, which I think I would argue is one more than you really need, but, to each their own. But then, you look at the history and statistics of this game, and you realize he's only got 1 win in the last 5, which is really strange. He went down to the right way to go. He went down to Lark's Barrett Krabu. In was the Greenhorn, he lost to the Doomed Witches. He beat the Peacock Blockers. No, he is the Peacock Blockers. He lost to Snow White and the Six Chaffs. The only game he's won was his like very first game in the Greenhorn, which was against Panzers, who's I've got no idea who those guys are. But just looking at this team, you would think it's a team that like this part at this stage of the season should be your time to shine. Like coming with so much blodge out of the box, so much dodge, you would think that the dice would be on your side right now to pick up some early wins. And I fear for this team if he's not getting those wins, because as we move towards kind of, like 13, 14, 1500 TV, and teams are going to be start picking up the tackle and stuff that they need, I think, the Amazon's dodge advantage is going to start to be, neutralized to a certain extent. What do you guys think?
This is where the volatility of the ice of as you're saying, Blodge, Tommo, and about how you don't put faith. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really think of is that for these guys, the dice haven't been falling in their favor, and they've been getting powered a lot because. I mean, yeah, except for obviously they had a game there, at least one game against Chaos Dwarves, which that would probably not have been a would not be a good day to be an Amazon. When you go up against a team of dwarfs or Chaos Dwarves, I bet. But I mean, aside from that sort of game, I mean, Amazons, they should be doing amazingly well. I mean, they're looking at the team here; it just looks really solid, a lot of potential. Their team value is still low. They're not sort of giving away inducements and things, and yet they've got so much dodge, so much blodge as well. Some wrestle would probably go down well, I think, on this team. To just just sort of break things up a little bit, give a few additional options, as it would sort of mitigate a lot of the need for going straight to tackle with with some of their blitzers. If some of the linemen went Rog instead of Blodge. Otherwise, like I mean, I've never played as Amazons. I could see how the edgy three could potentially hinder them. That's they've all got dodge, and the throwers got throw and the catchers got catch. But each of those are still 1 out of 9. So I think I mean, nine times out of 10, or 8 times out of 9, you're going to be successful in in sort of making those rolls. But if you make enough of them, you are going to fail them, and it's not a sure thing. And I mean, I think there's you're sort of a little bit reliant on sort of dice to a certain extent. When you play an agility 3 team that's sort of working on that's uses a lot of dodge and a lot of and where you are sort of taking a thrower and a catcher and things.
Yeah, I think looking at their record, their first 2 games are against Chaff. So that probably wasn't a great start. That makes this roster look a bit more sense. But I'd like to see him get a couple wins here, because otherwise they're going to fall behind a bit. They're decently skilled. So that's not too much of an issue. And, Amazons, it doesn't really matter if you don't get too many skills early, because you've got all that dodge spam. So let's just see who they're playing this week. They've got the bye this week, and then they have Crusaders team, which I believe Crusader actually has a bit of tackle. That might be right. Yeah, he does have a decent amount of tackle, so that's probably anticipating for this. But they still should be able to do better against the Kislev, who don't have as many skills early. So yeah, I think this team has to sort of take advantage of its early advantage. As much as I don't like Amazons at all, you don't want someone to just get in trouble by not having a good schedule coming up against dwarfs. So
No strip ball for the Kislev by the looks. So the Amazons maybe dodge a bullet there too.
All right. Okay. So that was our three teams from Division 3B. Having a quick look at the leaderboard. Anything jumping out to anyone here? Camry getting 2-0, I think is, Drag Tactics is doing really well so far, considering the way that Drag Tactics normally plays, just to have a laugh and have fun and stuff. It seems to be working at the minute, so they keep doing you.
I think Yasmi has had a great start. He had a chaff die last game, but it's good to see Yasmi getting back to it. Hopefully, if his team holds together, he should be able to keep going and do pretty well. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's not
So I
really too
think,
much to worry about. It's still pretty even.
yeah, I think from memory, I'm a big fan of the remasters of Division One. You know, you've got my one of my namesakes there. Papa Nice. I'm hoping as well. His team's pretty beaten up. Only the strong will survive. End of the season will only be Papa Nice left standing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, looking at the leaderboard, there's just a really good sort of mixture of racism here. You don't sort of feel like it's heavily favoured towards agility or sort of bash quite so much as what the 3A was.
Alrighty, so looking at the schedule for week 3, you want to do this, Liam, and then I'll do 3C?
All right. Schedule of 3B. So week 3 we'll have a look at, I'm guessing.
Yep.
We got Dirty Dinkers and Mutant Rossi's Bear School, all just numbers, and Scraping Sands Skelly Snakes. That's yet to be played. We got the Urquhart Innuendos and Monty's Tosspots. We got Peacock Blockers on a bye week, as we mentioned earlier. We got Baratakubu versus Underworldly Underworlders, and then the remasters of Div 1 versus the Rat Way to Go.
Okay,
So that's
awesome.
it for week 3 for them. They've done most of their games, so good job getting your games in early, guys.
Yep, we'll talk about those results next week, of course, guys. Moving on to our last division, which is mostly the fresh teams, and it's still kind of showing when you compare like 3C to 3A. There's quite a big difference. So yeah, Division 3C, the week 2 results are as follows. The Karakazul Fistmiths beat One True Path 2-0. Skellycuns and Temple-Stowed Serpent had a 1-all draw. The Cold Coast Creeps picked up a 2-1 win over the Phobias Reborn. Sassy Soviets won 1-0 against the Mohawk Marauders. And the 8MS team won a huge 4-0 over the Hamu Fighters. And Waitaha went down 1-0 to the Art of War. So, moving on to the teams from this week. Liam, we've been putting you first every time, so you want to keep going?
Alright, I was having a look at. What was it listed? Oh, that's right, it's the Sassy Soviets. Because they're actually reasonably well developed, the most well developed in this division. They have had all of their games they could possibly have. So, looking at the team roster, Tom and I were talking about the Croxigor here. We haven't seen. Actually, does Crusaders have a Croxigor? I can't remember. I think
Not
it's
right
the
now, I
only
don't
other
think.
Kislev team. Yeah, I don't think it does. And Croxigor is a great big guy. I haven't played any Kislev or Slan, so I'm still like undecided on how good he is. But yeah, I do like the fact that there's a decent complement of skills here, and there's also starting to get catches on this team. So we've got two blitzes have block. One's got minus movement, which is a bit of a pain for him. We'll talk in a minute about when he should probably fire him, or does he want to just keep him? Because blitzes are very hard to skill for the Kislev. We've got 2 catches. Lots of the Kislev teams are a bit slow on their catches, so I do like seeing them. One with guard, which is very cool. The other with block. Then we got some block linemen, a kick lineman, extremely important for this team, and then a plus strength lineman. So they're actually doing pretty well. They're easily the team with the most TV. Things that jump out to me here, the guard catcher. That's going to be awesome once he gets Blodge. Thing is, though, he could easiest piece to kill in the game before he gets Blodge. He has no defensive skills at all. So, and his useful skill means he has to be in more than one tackle zone. So you sort of really want to get to dodge or block. I'm a bit surprised actually about block first on the other catcher. I think I'd certainly be more of a dodge person first on an AG4 piece, just because it means, sure, you can leap on 2s, but that doesn't have an inbuilt reroll. So I really like dodge, and if not that, maybe even wrestle. This team actually has no real ball sacker early, and no dedicated sacker, which is a bit interesting for Kislev, because of course they do all have leap and very long legs. And like the linemen haven't gotten wrestle, which I think is really interesting, not getting wrestle. I think, yeah, fair enough, on your blitzers you get block, but on the lineman you get wrestle. I think that blitzer with 6 moves is probably going to be here to stay, because if he just develops into your blodge guard sidestep, he doesn't really need his extra movement that much, as long as he's positioned well. What do you guys have to think about this team?
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that. Sorry, you go, Papa.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, I'd say. I mean, I think that more wrestle. I will give a disclaimer. You know, I've never played Kislev, but looking at the team and the skills that they've got there, I would probably be a big fan of taking a lot of wrestle on Kislev. But you know, you've got all these leapers, which, you know, it's if you've got wrestlers and you've got leapers, like, then that's just a constant threat on the ball. And you know, if you can potentially leap in with anyone, that makes it even more of a threat. You know, leap in with anyone and wrestle them down. Likewise as well, like, you know, you've got your jump up on your blitzers. I would actually I would definitely go for wrestle on the blitzers, because I think that, you know, they've sort of on both blitzers and probably the catches as well. As those blitzers with jump up, it just means that even if you do sort of go down onto the ground, it's not such a biggie, because you've got jump up to just jump straight back up. Like, if I was going to go through and, you know, sort of go for sort of like a mighty blow or something, block would be nice, and that might be what he's planning to do, is just have them as the real sort of you know, the hurt you players. But the yeah, I mean, in general though, looking around, I'm sort of thinking like, oh, you know, there's so much potential here with all this leap. You know, he's got a kick there as well, which I can imagine that if you were to kick a short kick, or, you know, you have a short kick off as Kislev and get a blitz, there's no stopping you from getting to that ball, because you're just gonna, you know, you've got the opportunity to leap over. That strength 4, so much potential on that strength 4 blitzer, strength 4 lineman. Yeah, strength 4 leap, long legs. He's just really sort of got a good shot there of just being an absolute nightmare for whoever he plays against.
You get him wrestle strip all next to. Whew,
Yeah,
watch out.
that's
He'll be awesome.
That's the point I was gonna
Yeah.
make when we are talking about like primary sackers and things and wrestling stuff. Like, yeah, he's definitely the one for me. That, you know, you can let your positionals, keep them safe. You know, let them do the things on the field that they're better at. You know, whether it's, you know, marking people up with your like diving tackle, or whether you're using very long legs, which I've recently learned prevents safe throw. You know, you can, you know, they're great at intercepting. You know, let the lineman, especially the one with strength 4, just jump into the middle of the cage and get 2 dice. Particularly with that catcher with guard as well. There's not going to be there's not going to be a lot you can do to stop him from getting 2 dice on any kind of ball carrier at the minute. You know, and I think that this team's going to be causing a ton of turnovers.
Well, how have they gone so far this season? I think I saw 3-0-4 in the record. Yep, that's right. Compared to the other team, they're in 5th right now, so they're 2-0-1. Pretty good. I think one of the things that might be frustrating them a little is they might be giving up wizards against them, and Kislev certainly aren't the most tough team early on, so that'd be a bit frustrating. But I think this team can be really scary because they have a bit of a TV jump on everyone else. If they could really turn the corner, get some cool players, get some great sackers, and become really scary.
Yep. Okay then. Let's move on.
Only thing with them is, it's just quite unfortunate that their tame bear has got that minus movements. Really, he's just such a beast.
He's not going to be moving very far though, is he? So.
Yeah, not the worst for him, but just the red looks bad.
Well, I mean, when you're 0 out of 6 SPP, it just presents you with an uncomfortable choice. Where this early on, you need your gold for more positionals, more players. But at the same time, it's the perfect time to replace him. As soon as you can get 140 gold, it's the perfect time to replace him before he gets any SPP. Which is unfortunate that he doesn't have any as well. I mean, I'm not sure if this might even be his second tame bear. Maybe he's had 7 games, and he's still on 0 out of 6. That's I can't imagine that that's his first bear there, or that it was in the starting team. He's just had a bit of bad luck in general, I think, with the bear.
Yeah, Kislev don't normally start with bears, so it's probably like a addition that then got busted, I would imagine. Especially looking at the fact that he's already got 12 players. I think it's fair to say that he probably didn't start with it. I don't remember seeing it when we did the the season preview. So, yeah. But anyway, Papa, your choice of the teams. Anything jumping out at you?
Well, I don't know, those Kislev, they're jumping on.
Boom, boom.
Cheesy, got the place for cheesy jokes. Come on, guys, dad jokes. I'd like to look at Reese's team, the 08th MS team, where he's got his vampires. Reese, of course, was a coach in Division 1, and now he's re-rolled into vampires, and he's been talking about these vampires for like 2 or 3 seasons, and so I'm quite keen to take a look at these. So, looking here, he's got 4 re-rolls. He's got his apothecary, and he's got just the 3 vampires. He's got enough thralls that he can run 1 reserve. Yeah, he's got the dirty player. Yeah, it's always good to see. He's got a guard thrall, which I imagine is doubles. Yep. As well as a wrestle thrall and a kick thrall, and as vampires though, blodge already on one of them, agi 5 on another, and block on the other. Vampires is just one of those teams where just you look at it and you just think this has so much potential to be awesome, and then you see someone go and roll agi 5 and you think, wow, like strength 4 agi 5, movement 6, so he's fast, right? Movement 6 is fast. As well as that,
if you say so.
And he's got 88. It's that's not super durable, but it's it's not you're not vulnerable, and you just think, wow, this vampire, strength 4 agi 5. I just don't even have enough skill. I don't have enough slots for skills to give him, because there are so many awesome skills that you want to give him. Like, you don't even really need to go through and even like give him, say, like leap or something. Because your vampires, you just walk up to a cage and you just hypnotize the one of the corners of the cage. what do you give him? He's just straight for AG5. He's just so good. And then you got your Blodge one as well. Like, I don't know. I just look at this and just think, so long as your vampires don't eat everyone, don't eat all of your own team, how can you go wrong here? He's just off to a fantastic start. Especially with that guard piece as well, and the dirty player to inflict the pain. But what do you guys think about these vampires so far?
The big thing with the IG5, you're saying what you're going to do with them and stuff, Basically, he's not the one that's going to be jumping in the cages. He's the one that's going to be hypno-gazing, because hypno-gaze is an agi roll. So getting like the plus agi on that is just, it makes it a lot more consistent. Like the difference between like a 3+ and a 2+ is huge. So having like that, agi 5 with that is amazing. Apart from that, like you're just aiming for consistency and stuff, aren't you? Like the less thing you have to spend, like all those rerolls are going to be on, what's it called? Bloodthirsty. I forgot. Bloodlust. That's it. All the rerolls are going to be reserved for Bloodlust, you would imagine. So you want skills that are going to be again, consistency. I'm putting in like air quotation marks. If I had my webcam on, you'd see me doing like the quotation mark things. Consistency with Blodge, to hopefully keep them on their feet, and to keep them alive. Because, if you do manage to take out some of these vampires, fighting with thralls can go very, very uphill very quickly. Alternatively, you take out the thralls and then let the vampires remove themselves. So, he wants to make sure that, that doesn't happen to him, I think. And that's how I would be looking to build them. Just lots of Blodge, lots of, skills that have inbuilt rerolls. Just make them as consistent as you can.
I don't really have too much more to say because we did look at this team the other week. So, shall we move on to you next, Tommo?
Yeah. My pick. What was my pick? I think I was going to look at the Art of War. Or was I? Did I do them last week? No, last week we did... No, okay, yeah, we'll have a look at the Art of War here. Because this is, if we're talking like, potential, and I think we have to look at, all the big stat ups and things. And this strength 4 alignment with block is a pretty important stat up for a Dark Elf team. It gives them a lot more hitting power. He has 3 Blodge, 1 Rodge, 2 rerolls. But the big thing for me is, he doesn't have any of the Armor 7 positionals so far. There's no Witch Elves, there's no Runner. I think there was someone, I don't know if it was this team, but there was someone that had an assassin killed just recently. It might have been these guys, which,
Don't bring it back. Don't bring it back.
Assassins are awesome. Assassins are awesome.
Assassins are not awesome. Assassins are anything but awesome. You're saying assassins are awesome because you've got like armor 9 all over the place and they do absolutely nothing to you, and they're just like free SPP to you. That's why you think assassins are awesome.
No. Assassins are actually really good. Because what it does is it gives you an extra option. Like now, the fact that he's AV7 is not really of too much consequence, because on your team you're going to have Witch Elves, right? And your Witch Elves are going to have AV7. So if your opponent has, if you've got other AV7 players, there's always someone that's AV7 then that they're going to blitz anyway. So, if it's the assassin or someone else, it's someone's still getting blitzed.
You don't even need to blitz him though. Like honestly, right? Imagine this situation in your head. Like if there's a Witch Elf, the Witch Elf can dodge and run away. An assassin runs up to one of your blitzes, uses stab, fails, and then all of a sudden that assassin's going to get Mighty Blow piling on without even having to, any blitz, any action at all. That's why they're so bad. And that's why Armor 7's bad.
That's where people use assassins incorrectly. that's not how you use an assassin. You don't run up to somebody and just stab them. But okay, maybe you do sometimes, but what's good about an assassin, and particularly in with legendary having just dropped and like all these stunty stunty teams and stuff. But what's actually good about an assassin is that it gives you an extra option. Like how you actually play an assassin is you just play them as a lineman. Like most of the time, you just play them like a lineman. But however, when you make regular blocks with them, and you do all the regular sort of stuff that you do with a lineman, because they do have AV7, you're probably not going to say, "Oh, I'll use this here to just mark somebody." Keep them busy for a turn. You're probably not going to use your assassin for that. But then what you will use your assassin for is like when you want to mark somebody that's going to run away. So you're going to mark just someone that might run away. Then you're shadowing. It might work, it might not. But it's something where it's an extra option. Likewise as well, if you can go through and say you can, sometimes people will leave you a chance on their ball carrier, but like you can get next to their ball carrier, but you can't actually hit their ball carrier with a blitz. Stab doesn't use movement, right? So all you need to do is just get into base contact with them, and then you can have an attempt to stab their ball carrier if they try and outrange you. Likewise as well, you can go through and like sometimes they leave it where you can get to their ball carrier, but you can't. You can only get red dice on them. Your assassin can then just waltz on in and have a go at stabbing them, or in general, like if he happens to be basing lots of people, you can go through and just rather than throwing a red dice or throwing even a 1 die block, you can just go for the stab. And obviously, of course, against AV9, that's not going to be very useful. But if you're playing against AV8 or AV7, then going for that stab rather than a 1 die block is completely safe. Like that's the thing. It's like you've still got a similar success rate as what you'd have with a 1 die block, but it's completely safe. Like you're not going to go through and like, oh crap, I just rolled a skull. Or, oh damn, I just rolled a double down. I don't have block. It's completely safe. There's no chance at all that you'll fail. Yeah.
See, the thing that scares me for assassins is more. You're right in that you don't fail, as in you don't break your own armor or whatever. The fact is, the chance of failure is the chance of you just getting smashed back into the turf next. And they're AV7, so they're a bit scary. I'd certainly think that assassins can be handy around a couple teams, mainly stunties, Elf Union and Wood Elves, and Kislev. Actually, that'd be pretty decent at too. Teams that rely on skills to keep them up, not armor. But
Yeah,
other than that,
against
unless
orcs,
like you're playing for a bit of
dwarves,
fun,
yeah, against
orcs and dwarfs,
they're not
they're
chaos
not doing
dwarves.
anything that game.
They're really, that's really not, that's not going to be a good day for you. But then, in general, you've got lots of when you play against dwarves, you've got lots of people, lots of players on an agility team that are not going to be quite as much fun when playing against dwarves. And but yeah, the assassin, they just give you that extra option. Like that's the great thing about them. It's not that they're they're not a piece that's going to be your most, they're not going to be the star player in your team, but it's going to give you an extra option against a lot of teams. Like even against say like Chaos Dwarves, you go through and you can maybe you can go through and they've got lots of guard spam or something. You can get a chain push or something, get your assassin next to the goblin and just stab him. It's a goblin, he goes down easy. Full centaur, not so much. But it just gives you that extra option. That's the thing that I like about assassins, is that it gives you an extra option, a bit of an extra tactic, and also as well, people hate assassins. Like,
I think they get too much hate, but they're not great still.
People hate
more
them
hate than they
because they're scared
deserve,
of them.
but
they get a lot of hate because people are scared of them.
That.
Like people will try and kill your assassin, not just because he's AV7, but they will try and kill him because he's an assassin. Like people, like for a lot of other sort of, like like players that you might have, like, you know, they might block you and then they'll follow up because they like to be in base contact. With an assassin, they generally don't, because they know that they free hit on them. You know, like you get a free stab at them at no cost to yourself at all. Whereas, yeah, for a lot of the other ones, you know, they'll just follow up. You know, like, you know, if you're AV9 or something, you just follow up. But even on an assassin, you don't, or most people don't anyway. And it's sort of it puts people off their game as well because of that irrational fear that they have. Particularly great putting them up once you get them blodge, putting them up against the enemy's big guy. You know, if he gets a minotaur or something, because yeah, you put them up against the minotaur, the claw's not doing anything. They don't have tackle or anything, and your stab, your stab is just as effective against strength 5 as what it is against strength 3 or strength 2. So yeah. But yeah, as McMackey said in chat, they would be significantly better with movement 7, and they should have movement 7. Would make them significantly better, because otherwise the shadowing is, yeah. As much as I like to say that movement 6 is fast, I do have to be realistic and say that it's not. And so shadowing is of less value. But anyway, that's yeah, the assassin's dead.
So you bringing him back after all that? Is your next recruit an assassin, or are you looking at a witch elf or a runner, or even a fourth blitzer?
Oh yeah, it's gotta be a fourth blitzer, I think, because he's missing one. I don't know about you, Papa. Fourth blitzer next.
He's only got 80k. So that means he could get a runner if he wanted before his next game, and that would be his 11th player. If he wanted to run a runner. Runners are, another controversial positional, much like assassins.
No, they're a lot better than assassins.
and yeah, like, runners are another controversial positional. So he could potentially go for a runner, or he could save the gold and then after his next game go for a blitzer, or a witch elf. I'm having the option of witch. I mean, I think I would probably more be looking at a witch elf rather than a blitzer. Again, part of the reason for that is, much as I think I said with the high elf catches, is that the earlier that you get a witch elf, the more chance that they have of surviving, because a level 1 witch elf is well, you just really hope that they can get their first level up before they die, because without having block, they're just so much more of an easy target for your opposition. But having it witch elf again, it just gives you that extra option. You got the frenzy, you got the jump up. Witch elves are they're one of the better positionals, arguably one of the better positionals in the game. With how many skills they start off, as well as with good stats. And so, I mean, I would I would think that he'd want to try and get a witch elf. Start leveling them up as quickly as possible. It's just really difficult to include them on an initial dark elf roster. But after the first few games, you can easily manage. I think he's I think he needs to get 30k gold from his next match, and then he'd be able to afford one. I think 110, or are they 120? Anyway, hopefully he can afford one at the end of his next match.
Alrighty.
Do we have any more points on this team?
I don't think so. I think we've all covered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So looking at the leaderboard or schedule first.
Do the leaderboard, then we'll do the schedule.
All right. I'll have a look at the leaderboard. You can look at the schedule, Tommo. So, looking at our leaderboard here, we only have one undefeated team, which are the Dwarves. So, Lark will be very pleased that the one Dwarf team in the Big O this season is doing well. And yeah, I think that's really the big standout from everything else. Goblins have got a couple losses. They're the only team on 0-3. Other than that, it's really, really tight. Hopefully the Goblins been injuring stuff. I haven't really had too much of a look at them.
I think they have been. Like I said, well, we were talking kind of like before this recap, and the game between I think it was the Phobias Reborn and Ham Fighters in week 3 was just ridiculous. Like both players were fouling each other right up until like turn 6. It was, I'm pretty sure there'll have been blood in that game.
Yeah.
Injuries inflicted 20.
Well, actually,
so yeah.
Well, actually, interestingly, there's not too many. None of them went to like casualties for the goblins. The goblins didn't inflict as many casualties as the Phobias Reborn did, so that's pretty good for them. They got killed by Reese. Did they take anything out of Reese? Not really. They have got a decent amount of stuff on the trolls though, so at least they're doing that. And who doesn't love to see a goblin team mess up another team? So hopefully they can get a win or a tie or just dismantle some teams.
Yeah. Anything else on the leaderboard jumping out?
I think is Reese's vampire team the actual in the Big O.
So you cut out a little bit there. Can you say that again?
The is Reese's vampire team? Is that actually the only vampire team in the Big O?
I believe so.
I just thinking. I don't think I saw any other vampires in the other divisions. So, and I just find it interesting as I thought that of the new teams that vampires were one of the ones that had sort of the most potential to be very, very competitive. Admittedly, only at high team value, but yeah, I just find it interesting that there aren't more vampires.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. They can be a very punishing team at the start to play. So yeah, but anyhow, guys, let's have a look at the results from. The fixture list for week 3. And we have the Mohawk Masqueraders playing the Carcassonne Fistsmiths. Ham Fighters are playing against the Phobias Reborn. The Art of War have got Temple-Stone Serpent. White Aha are playing against the One True Path. The 8th MS team are playing against Skellycoons. And the Sassy Soviets have got the Cold Coast Creeps. So good luck to everyone that hasn't played their game yet there. So guys, we've had another exciting week in the Big O. We're in the middle of week 3 now. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Everyone that's playing, good luck with your games. I want to thank Papa Nasty for jumping in. You got anything you want to plug, Papa? You haven't been streaming as much recently, have you?
Should be. Yeah, no, I've Legendary. I went on holiday for the beach, but then when Legendary came out, it messed up my Blood Bowl. I'm hoping that it'll be fixed this week, but yeah, my Blood Bowl has a lot of connection issues and things when I play, so I'm not gonna stream while I'm getting connection issues from Blood Bowl. So I'm hoping that they'll fix it soon though. Peacock had exactly the same problem, so I think it's been sort of noticed by Cyanide, or at least there were threads on forums and things. So hopefully it'll be fixed soon. But what I was going to plug though is that I've got my match coming up in about an hour and a half, which I believe Crusader is going to stream. Where I'm going to play my Division 1 team, the Bash Incorporated, my Orcs, against Lynx's Capital Rats. So that should be a good match to watch. Always good to watch Bash Incorporated play against an AV7 team. So even if they do have claws, that's I think that's actually what most people would actually be cheering for is the rats with claws. But it'd be good fun. Definitely a good match to be a spectator for rather than being on the pitch.
No, I'm really looking forward to that match actually, Papa. So I'll be watching, and Crusader will probably have a team that probably won't involve me, but it should be enjoyable to watch at least.
All right, yeah.
See some revenge. Eddie Branch.
Liam, you got anything you want to plug this week?
Not really. Just next week, guys. We film at basically same time every Sunday afternoon. So if you do want to jump in and be our guest for the week, we'd be happy to have you. Let us know. We don't want to be looking for people every week because it is much fun having another person in there. It's also probably less boring for you guys than just hearing me and Tommo rant about how this team's named badly, how this team annoys Liam because it looks bad, etc.,
About how
etc.
this team hasn't chosen.
Yeah, not enough this, not enough
Before the
that. So
recap.
as you can see, like me and Tommo hate assassins, but then Papa loves them. So it's good to get and listen to what you guys are saying rather than having to look at what you guys are saying on the stream. So
Yeah, awesome. So, once again, thanks to Popper and Liam for jumping on. Thanks to everyone in chat debating the finer points of the Underworld troll in chat for a good half hour there. I found that quite interesting while we were doing this. And thanks to everyone for playing their games. Everyone, keep having fun in the Big O, and we'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, everyone. Bye bye. Okay.